Happy New Year, everyone. This is a New Year special, and perhaps even my last video of this channel. Now, I'm going to be assessing 5 great hymns of the faith. Hymns, so not just spiritual songs, but songs that have theological content and spiritual greatness to them. So the first one on our list we're looking at is How Great Thou Art. This was translated from an old Swedish verse. It presents the sheer greatness and magnitude of our God, like in Psalm 50, verses 10 to 12. Funny enough, this was Elvis Presley's favourite hymn. Now there's a story that when Elvis was young and when he became famous, he told his pastor, "I'm the most miserable young man you've ever seen. I've got all the money I'll ever need to spend. I've got millions of fans, I've got friends, but I'm doing what you taught me not to do. I'm not doing the things that you taught me to do." Elvis found out that the world could not satisfy him, just like Solomon before him, and even Oscar Wilde. So why is it that you think that the world will satisfy you? Why? Why do many believers think, oh, if they get rich, if they get famous, that's it. If they reach the top of the ladder, then they'll be happy. Why do people think that the world satisfies them, and yet Jesus does not satisfy completely? Before he died, Presley sang this song with all his heart. You'd almost see his heart cry. We surely don't write songs like this anymore, which I will be repeating in the next hymn when we look at that. More on that later. But what we can gather from this song and from Elvis's testimony, now perhaps there is a good chance that Elvis was a believer. He did believe in God. He wasn't an atheist. Perhaps he was like a Lot in his life, not an Abraham. He was up and down, up and down, up and down, like a roller coaster. 1 minute high, 1 minute low, roller coaster. This is the experience of many a believer, and they're not supposed to be like that. Elvis Presley, the reason why he was up and down, Elvis Presley wanted to hold on to God and the world at the same time. He led a double life. This is very sad. Let us learn from this lesson. Remember this lesson, my friends, my brothers and sisters, that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40 verse 31 and Romans 8:37. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. Let us pursue righteousness in this time of sin. The next song is this. Be Thou My Vision is the world's oldest hymn that is sung. It is completely beautiful. It's similar to what our brother Paddy prayed in Ireland. He said, Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ when I rise, Christ in the heart of everyone who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in every ear that sees me, Christ in every ear that hears me. The song is beautiful, as it is biblical. Emphasis is on the words, not the words. Emphasis is on the words, not the music. That's the important thing to say, not the music. I was saying to my music teacher, and after all the modern music around, as well as the spiritual modern music, relies extensively on the beats, on the music, not the words. Words in these so-called spiritual songs are clobbish, nightclubbish, emphasize the loudness, the tone, not the words. James McConnell, famous pastor, he once remarked that the old hymns are the sort of ones that will get you to heaven. Oh, how true Hosea 4:6 is. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You might call me and James McConnell a dinosaur, but I will call you a robot for listening to all these modern hymns. They surely don't write these good old hymns anymore, do they? They don't write such things. All these modern ones are repetitive. Repet, like that. The next hymn. Look at the words of this song. Come Thou Fount. This is a marriage song. Many people get married under the sway of this music. I can't count the number of times that I've been asked, have I got a wife? Have I got a girlfriend? Am I looking? Such people have forgotten the gift of being single. Look at the ministry of John Stott, Jackie Pullinger, Corrie ten Boom, Sam Albury, David Brainerd, Helen Roosevelt, A. Gladys Aylward, Julian Lodge, John the Baptist, Apostle Paul, and even Jesus himself. Most even forget the fact that Peter was married, as it seemed that most of the time he lived a single life. 1 Corinthians 7:29 to 35. He lived out that verse. My auntie once spoke to a lady once and asked if an evangelist in Ireland, the car park preacher, who is probably watching this video, but the auntie asked a lady who knew him whether this evangelist had a girlfriend or a wife or was looking for wives. The lady said to my auntie that he's too busy saving souls than bothering with the girls. The writer of this song was an infamous backslider / infidel, even becoming a Unitarian, which means he denied the divinity of Jesus Christ. One day he passed a woman humming this tune, Come Thou Fount, and the woman asked him whether he knew it. The man said, I am the miserable wretch who wrote the song. We don't know what happened to him at the end of the life. We don't know what happened. But let it be another lesson to you, watcher. Here's my heart, Lord. Take and seal it. Seal it for thy courts above. Let's look at the next hymn. One of my personal favorites. A mighty fortress is our God. Martin Luther. He really wrestled before God in prayer, like Jacob, who became Israel. My favorite verse in this hymn is, if it was not for the right man on our side, our striving with the devil would be losing. There's no way we can win this fight against this ancient foe, this cunning serpent, without the light of Jesus Christ in our hearts. Without Jesus Christ's Spirit in us, we cannot win. We cannot overcome sin and death. We cannot do it. And though this world of devils filled should threaten to undo us, this world around us is full to the brim of so-called believers. You would think this world is already Christian, and this life, this nation is a Christian nation. But look around. Look around at the effects, the implications of sin and death. There are many preachers, yes, but not all of them are biblical. Not all of them are good. Many of them are false, in fact. There's too many false preachers in this world, preaching about prosperity, preaching about the broad way, not the narrow way, not preaching about the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is the power of God to save sinners from hell. The death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the cross. People don't like the cross. People don't like the blood. People don't like the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Oh, how we need more preachers to preach on this subject. More preachers to preach on Jesus and Him crucified. The enemy might have Kenneth Copeland, but we have Athanasius. They may have Paula White, but we have Lady Jane Grey. They may even have Joel Osteen, but we have John Calvin. Let us fight this good fight. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Hebrews 12:1. They may even have Beth Moore, but we have Perpetua. They may even have Clefley O'Dollar, but we have William Tyndale. They may have Andy Stanley, but we have Matthew Henry. They may have Christine Kane, but we have Mary Slessor. They may have T.D. Jakes, but we have Polycarp. They may even have Lauren Daigle, but we have Amy Carmichael, Gladys Aylward. They might even have Pope Francis, but we have Jesus Christ. Oh friends, why is it so many people like these mighty men, these men and women of valor, these so-called believers deceiving a multitude and a flock? Why is it people gather to them rather than the bread of life himself? Why? The famous preachers that I mentioned against the infamous preachers that I mentioned again is a complete difference. Allow me to explain it. With the good preachers, any good preacher would want you to go to Christ, not to stay and marvel at your feet. There's a famous story once. Oh, how a very famous story. A group of traveling missionaries came to England once, and they went to two preachers. The first preacher listened to the sermon and said, oh, what a good preacher he is. How eloquent he sounds. But when they went to the second preacher, Charles Spurgeon, they didn't say, oh, what a good preacher he is. They said, oh, what a good God he's talking about. Oh, what a good Christ he's preaching on. Friends, what did Martin Luther used to say? He said that if any of his books or any of his tracks would cause someone to fall away from reading the Bible, he would light a match and burn it all up. That's the same as me, as my YouTube channel. If anything in these YouTube channels detracts your reading from the Word of God, if any of my words detract you from reading God's words, then I will delete my channel instantly, and I will stop making YouTube videos after this. Let this be my last YouTube video. Let this be a testimony to you. Oh, my friends, let's go to the final song. Nearer, my God, to thee. Nearer, my God, to thee. Picture the scene. It is a night of the April 14th, 1912. The Titanic has just hit an iceberg. The White Star Company employee is regretting ever saying that not even God himself could sink the ship. Death is in the air. Men, women, children are perishing. The wealthiest man on board, John Jacob Astor, couldn't even buy himself a ticket onto the lifeboat. Captain Smith has heard in the background saying, "Do your best for the women and children and look out for yourselves." And yet there is another cry in the air. Women and children and the unsaved into the lifeboats. Yes, this was John Harper, God's man for the Titanic, God's man for the moment. He gave up his life jacket when on a passenger. He left his daughter on a different lifeboat and went instead in pursuit of lost souls. He jumped into the water preaching the gospel. Believe on Lord Jesus Christ and you shall be saved. This was his dying words as he sank beneath the watery grave. He pointed people to Jesus Christ, not to himself. He pointed people to Jesus Christ. He pointed people to his master, Jesus Christ, and him crucified. Oh, how we need people like this. God always has someone for the hour. God always has someone to change his generation. Who can be like Esther and Mordecai, change their generation? Who can be even like Hannah and Samuel, bring a change to the spiritual atmosphere? We need more women and men like this. Who can really stand up for Jesus? Who can be a true preacher of righteousness? My prayer is that you, dear viewer, dear brother and sister, that you stand up for Jesus Christ. I want you to draw nearer and nearer and nearer to God as this year draws to a close, as 2024 comes around us. As each day goes, Jesus Christ comes closer. As each day passes, Jesus Christ comes nearer. When he returns, will he find faith in the world? Or will you be out there with the drunkards? Will you be out there getting drunk? Will you be out there in your old man? Will you be out there in your old women, in your old flesh, never being crucified to the world? You people ask, are you saved? Are you born again? I'm going to ask you this. Have you been crucified to the world? Have you said no to the world, yes to Jesus Christ? Then why are you being like the world? Why do you act like the world? Why do you talk like the world? Why do you talk like an unbeliever? Oh friends, my prayer to you is that you become nearer to God this year, that you draw nearer to God this year. Come on, my friends. Many of believers are rearranging furniture on the Titanic. Don't even realize this ship is sinking. This is like the world, my friends. This world is not our home. We're just traveling through. We are pilgrims going on. We are warriors. We are soldiers for Christ. So why is there many a person is lying dead, half dead, many a believer is half dead, in the state of Babylon, the state of lamentations, many a believer nowadays? Look around you. There's no faith anymore, friends. No faith. Who can be faithful in this time, my friends? I pray that you, my friends, dear viewer, dear listener, that you can be faithful. May this song inspire you. May you draw nearer to God this 2024 year. It's been a pleasure making YouTube videos. Goodbye and God bless.